Today's video is all about my thoughts on the Dev Talk responses and reading in between the lines and telling you how it really is. So the Albion Online YouTube channel put out a video called We Respond to Your Dev Talk Comments, which is 44 minutes long of Robin Hinkes, the CEO, the big man himself, reading comments from one of their videos and then responding to it. And I'm going to give you the real take and the raw take. Let's go. So before we start, the video is framed kind of like this. This stick figure is Robin Hinkes, and then he is reading off of a laptop. Now, this is not ergonomically good. Your eyeballs, they should be like kind of, at the same line. Like the monitor should be like up here. I understand for the video, you want to kind of be the center frame of the action and stuff, but bro, you're gonna like hurt your back. Anyway, let's get started. Comment number 1 is about how smaller guilds can't defend raids, and then they add fortifications, and Robin's cope was that quality 1 zones, which the smaller guilds should be using, won't have to pay as much resources to fortify their territories than a quality 6 zone, which is where the big guilds will be. This is an absolute cope. This is just a money sink that they're adding to the game to drain more silver from the economy. To get you to card swipe more, it's that simple. The biggest guilds have an infinite, endless purse. They have infinite money, infinite gold, infinite silver. The cost does not matter unless it's like astronomically higher. Like say a quality 1 zone guild has to pay 1,000 stone to fortify a base, whatever, right? Whereas a quality 6 zone, it's probably going to be like 4,000 to 5,000 stone. It's not going to be like 500,000 stone. Let's be real. It's not going to be ever that high. It's not going to be exponentially higher. So this is a cope. The next comment was to add more battle mounts for all the fortifications, and Robin was like, "Yeah, maybe later. We just want to get it right first." So basically, it's going to be the exact same content, just more stalling. Next comment is upgrading the fortifications, like the guards and stuff, maybe feeding them. And he basically said it would imbalance the crafting world, so they need to make it even simpler than just giving them food and gear. Comment number 4 is concerns about altering the game too much, because some players don't like change. I'm a player that doesn't like change, but it's whatever, it's guild stuff, who cares? And his response is they don't want the game to get stale, he wants to move forward. Move forward is CEO buzzword talk for we're going to experiment and try a bunch of stuff and see what sticks. Comment number 5 is all about, yay, stone will be worth money now. And then Robin's like, oh, well, maybe I can go make some silver farming. Bro, he's the CEO. He has game master commands. He can just type / add 9999999 silver to himself, and then there you go. He doesn't... the only character names that he's used in the past in video games, you don't see them playing the game. I don't think he honestly plays the game. The character that he... his character name itself has, like, no fame on it. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, the stone market will at least the travertine market will possibly never recover. Maybe the other stone might, but travertine is doomed, and I'm going to show you why. Alright, so everyone I know is hoarding travertine. We've been holding on to this since the announcement like a year and a half ago, okay? And I just have a small little treasure hoard of travertine here, but let me give you some real numbers. Let's talk about the travertine cope, alright? So every day for the past 2 years, and this has been going on longer than 2 years, over 1 million travertine has been sold in the entire game every single day. So that's 730 days times a million. That means there's 730 million travertine in the past 2 years. Now, let's say 50% of this travertine was being used for building and whatnot, which it's not. Travertine is not being used that much in the game. So let's just say 365 million travertine sitting around in people's stashes. Now let's say the update doubles the amount of travertine sold per day. This means it will take 1 full year for the hoarders to sell through their stock, and everyone's going to undercut each other. So these are generous numbers. So just keep that in mind. This update, it could fix stone prices, but not anytime soon, not for a full year minimum. And this is generous numbers, all right? Guilds have an infinite, endless pocket. What's truly going to happen is all the other stone is going to be mass bought out by the richest guilds with endless, infinite pockets. You have to realize that, at least in the top 100 guilds, if you go to season overview and you go to season rankings here, all the top 100 guilds, all of them, or at least all the ones in the gold rank, okay? Maybe not top 100, but at least the top 50. I mean, I'm being generous here. These guilds all make over 100 million silver a day. I'm not joking. Per day, they make over 100 million. And these top guilds, these crystal guilds, they're probably raking in 300 to 400 million, possibly 700 million plus, or even billions. Most of them just card swipe to feed, you know, their guilds and to be the whole #1. It's a huge money thing. It is all about the money and who has the deepest pockets in the ZBZs and the guild stuff, because it's all about how many people you can throw at the enemy until you whittle them down till they can't re-gear anymore in a fight. That's all it becomes. That's all it is. And so what's going to happen is Mr. Guildmaster from iFuries or whoever is just going to walk to the market and just buy all the stone. It's just going to be gone, all of it. And then that way no one else can upgrade their territories, no one else can upgrade their fortifications, and then it's over. And now, you know, travertine, there's way too much for one person to try to manipulate or control. And so what's just going to happen is everyone is just going to undercut each other. Because everyone's like, oh, stone update's here, time to list my travertine, haha. And then, you know, they're going to post hundreds of thousands of travertine at a time. And then, you know, seconds later, someone's going to undercut them by 1 silver, and so on and so forth, until it's back down to 7 silver. So the comment is about how guilds won't want to kill people to boost the territory chest, and in the update, the way it works is when people are doing content in your guild's area in the black zone, it will bolster the territory chest rewards. So guilds will be less incentivized to gank everyone that enters their territory, and the black zone will be a safer place. We all know this is false, but Robin's cope was guilds will try to protect their own territory and maybe not gank people, you know, doing it, but they will raid other people's territory, which is partially true, I'm not gonna lie, but the real talk is that you would have to massively boost the rewards of these territory chests for them not to just kill everyone and take the loot that the players are wearing. The players, like, okay, so when I was in a guild, we would gank everybody that came in, and we would make about 40 million a day just from ganking people, right? So unless these territory chests are worth 40 million or more, which they're not going to be, we all know they're not going to be, because that would ruin the economy. All right? So unless the territory chests are worth more than 40 million per day, it will always be worth it to just kill everyone that invades, okay? Now, what's really happening is this. Guilds have a motto in this game, for those that don't know, and that is, if it's trackable, it's taxable. And what this means, like, guilds, it's all a big politics game. So, I've witnessed this with every freaking top guild ever, is that they basically act as a mafia of sorts, and they muscle in and make people pay silver to do things. For instance, the guild I was in, we made a group of people pay silver to not get their territory smashed. We made them pay silver to exist in the territory, to be able to farm in the territory. There was a silver tax for them to be able to gather in the territory. There was a silver tax for them to, they also had to provide the territory with power cores and vortexes, which they gladly did. They were also forced to defend the territory when told, not asked, but told. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So what this means is that guilds are just going to crack the whip to those that are underneath them to force them to do content in their zone to boost the territory chest, while they also have to pay for it, okay? And at the same time, guilds will attack other territories, of course, to kill those people under them, because now they have a reason to just make more silver by taxing those that want to do PvE content and gather. That's all that is. That's all this is. The next comment was a very long-winded one from Robin, and they basically said, upgrade the roads. The roads suck, make them better. And Robin's response was well, we don't know exactly what small scale is. The data shows there's lots of activity. The average party size is 3 to 4 players, grouped. They just didn't know what to do. There's a lot of debates. It was kind of just, they don't really have an answer. Comment number 7 was one that I wanted addressed, and it says, Avaroads are dead, buff solo dungeons. And Robin was like, our data shows it's not dead. And then solo dungeons, it's a technical challenge. He says that there's not a large group of players that do them. Yeah, we all stopped doing solo dungeons 2 to 3 years ago when they stopped dropping good loot. Back then, that was one of the main things that I personally did. I would just log in and run solo dungeons for 8 to 12 hours. And I got 1 to 2 million per hour in the safe zones doing it. Right? Not even map dungeons, not even in the black zones or anything. Just in yellow zones. Yellow zone dungeon runner. I literally have infinite sets that I have in my chest for doing exactly that. Then he says, the loot is still there. It's just spread out. And then he finally ends it with, do the roads of Avalon if you want valuable chests. So that's where the loot is. I don't like the roads. The road is filled with radar hackers and cheaters and teamers and small, like you said, 3 to 4 players. I can't fight 3 to 4 players. If 3 to 4 players roll up on me when I'm doing an Avalonian chest, I'm 100% dead. I don't get to get the loot. It's not fun for me. That's why I'm not doing it. Bring back solo dungeons, damn it. Now, Robin liked comment number 8. It was about making the Greater Mist 3v3, which he didn't even really talk about. He just kind of skipped over it to talk about fixing the roads again. And he said that reducing the number of roads meant there's less entrances, which meant travel networks that would be too good. He also mentioned that it would be higher risk of PvP, so less safe transporting. And he wasn't really sure if it's good or bad, but he did say for solo players that it would hurt them the most, and they don't want to exactly quite do that, but to be real, us solo players, unless we're ratting the roads, we don't play the roads. It's too risky. There's nothing really there for us. Again, the roads are basically, like you said, small-scale content. It's not for us. We don't care about the roads. If for solo content, we just want solo dungeons back. This one's a little upsetting. So, another buff solo group dungeons, nerf static ratting. Solo players use it as a break from the pressure of black zones. No, there's still a lot of pressure. You have to set in there 90 seconds until it closes, and static ratting is always pressure, so I don't know how it's a safe haven, but whatever. So he says they're looking into it. They might buffs might be coming at some point, but he didn't specifically say these words. I'm summing it up in the way that I interpreted it, and that is, people are doing them anyway, regardless if the silver and fame per hour sucks, so why change it, Lamau? So here we see the true colors. Another comment about solo dungeons need to be viable again. And Robin basically said they're very safe. They're not supposed to be competitive because they're safe, and they can't and they shouldn't be competitive with other content for loot. He then goes to say that they won't open them up again like in the old days. So for those that don't know, back in the day, solo dungeons did not close. You could be on the 3rd floor clearing a boss from, and spending like 30-40 minutes in there, and some guy can just come up behind you and murder you. And that was actually fun. That was the most fun thing that I remember in this game, is because it happened to me when I was new, and I got to do it whenever I wasn't new anymore. It was kind of a, Predator versus Prey thing. It was kind of like why people play Dead by Daylight. That horror movie game where you run from the killers? That's kind of what solo dungeons were like. You risk the solo dungeon, and you get some loot, and the risk is that someone will come in and kill you, and you could run away, or maybe you could fight back. And he says that because it was an ambush and slaughter gameplay, that it caused people to quit, and they don't want that to happen. So he also says if dungeons were better, that they would outcompete the risk versus reward content that is currently available. Well, the thing is that there isn't solo content that's available for us that's risky. There just isn't. What? Corrupted dungeons suck. There's nothing else for solo players to go do to earn loot. The roads, it's filled with small scale. As you said, it's majority small scale. We can't fight 4 people. I would rather take my chances fighting one guy in a dungeon that possibly outgears me, that has a gank set, while I have a PvE clearing escape set. I'm totally okay with that. And for people that do dungeons, when I was the invader, when I was the PvP guy back in 2020, when I would go into people's dungeons and kill them for loot, a lot of the times they were clearing the dungeon also with a PvP set. They refused to use a speed clearing set like light crossbow and crypt candle because that made them an easy target. No, they were using daggers and double bladeds and a bunch of other crap and, healing weapons. Like, I would love for one guy to invade me when I'm using a druidic staff set. He wouldn't be able to kill me. I could just out-heal him forever. But whenever I did solo dungeons back in 2020, what happened was it was never one guy. It was always like 2 or 3 people that came in to kill me. And I was okay with dying back then because there was a few reasons why. Back then, the yellow zones were IP capped, so you had to go to black zones. It was the efficient way to do things. You could not wear an 8.3 set and just go farm yellow zones all day. That was not a thing in the game. But also, the times that I died doing the solo dungeon stuff, well, I made more silver and fame. It was worth dying for from the times that I didn't die. But now if you do solo dungeons, someone can still walk into your dungeon and fight you and try to kill you, and you get, like, nothing for the dungeon anyway, so there's no point in doing them. It's just dead content. It's legacy dead content that no one in their right mind would do because it's not efficient anymore. So if you don't make it efficient, it's just like a useless part of content that's attached to the game still. And I get in the previous comment, and he says that he's happy that players are essentially spinning the wheels in the mud, not making good fame or silver per hour, and they're doing the content purely for fun. I mean, like, that sucks. That's just like, make it rewarding, please. Comment 11 is something that I've been, rallying for a long time, and that is, well, missed IP sorting. The comment basically, instead of saying missed IP caps, but missed IP sorting. So, like, if you rat in the mists, you would be paired against other rats. And if you go in 8.3 or 8.4 gear, well, then everyone else that you're being, put up against is also in the same IP. And Robin's cheeky response was, well then, should the rewards be scaled down then? And I'm okay with that. I think every person that rallies for this would be absolutely fine with that. If I want to wear a crappy 4.1 set with Curse Staff and go out into the mists, and the only other people that I would be up against are also 4.1s, I'm happy with that. I could do the camps and be leisurely, and the rewards don't have to be that good because the fights would be good. The fights would be good, and I could fight other 4.1s without worrying about some 8.4 bloodletter running up off my screen and instantly deleting me and then scooting by without even picking up my stuff. Which, I don't care if I lose 4.1, I'm a literal billionaire in the game. I can go out in 8.4 gear every single day for the rest of the time and still afford it. And I'm not going to, because I don't like the idea that if I go in 8.4, that 10 people with curse stabs can just kill me when I'm, wounded after an epic fight. That's the thing, right? The 8.4s, they want the good fights, or some of them do, and some of them just like to kill rats, okay? I'll be real. Some of them just kill rats and run from the other 8.4s. Some of the 8.4s love to kill the other 8.4s. Like, I see it all the time on the Twitch streams, on the PvPers doing mist content. They play the mists for the fights. They're not playing it to go to the camps and get, 50 to 100,000 silver out of a chest. Yeah, that's a bonus. It's cool that they get it, but I'm okay with not getting it just so the fights are better. The next one is make more content for single players. And then Robin, again, he just hates he just hates us single players, man. He says, what are you looking for? Well, you can gather, you can craft, you can farm, you can solo the black zone, you can do mist, you can do corrupted. Okay, so let's be real here. Gathering. If you are not in a guild, and you are not protected in the guild area, even when I joined a freaking guild, I bent the knee and I joined a freaking guild, the gathering was still miserable solo, unless I had 10 players roaming the zone at my beck and call in Discord, ready to jump anyone that dared get in near me on my screen. Gathering was basically suicide, and I know some people are like, well, skill issue, get good. Okay, for one, you're not getting good against radar hackers, you're not getting good against 10 people who have gank sets and chase mounts versus your gathering set. You're just not gonna get away. Yes, you can slip away a few times if they really suck, or if they misplay, or if you're just super godlike with like a 16-year-old's reaction time, which most of us are old, by the way. We don't have the reaction time anymore. When you get older, after like age 23, you lose some reaction time. And I'm not joking, okay? It's coming for you. It's coming for you. But the point is that trying to gather in an unsafe zone solo is miserable. It sucks. It's not even that profitable compared to just chilling in the blue zone, bro. Crafting, maybe like potions or food. What are you crafting as a solo player that you're not getting dicked over by the cartel? You're not getting the bonuses from black zone hideouts? Excuse me? Crafting is not something solo players can technically do. Yeah, they could, but they do it at a loss, and so the only people to benefit are the guilds. Soloing the black zone. Okay, yeah, have you tried? I would love to see a Robin Hinkey's like stream where he just, for 1 hour, goes into the black zone as a guildless solo player wearing crappy gear. Let's see how long he lasts, okay? He'll just get murdered over and over and over again, okay? Corrupted dungeons, the rewards suck. It's a 1v1 rock, paper, scissors meta. Unless you're playing the meta, it's not fun, it sucks, it's really stupid. And mists, again, you just get mauled to death by those 8.4 players. Unless you yourself are an 8.4 player, then you get mauled to death by all the rats teaming up. It's unfun for everybody. Comment 13 said, work on solo dungeons, which Robin ignored, and instead focused on the next part. Allow awakened weapons to drop. And he says, awakened weapons can drop in solo dungeons, which I thought everyone knew, but I guess the person leaving the comment is an idiot. buff solo and group dungeons or remove them. Nerf static ratting. And he just basically ignored the static ratting, and he said solo players would be upset if they're removed, and we might buff them. But then he said in a previous comment that there's no reason to buff them because they're too safe? What? It's inconsistent here. Add fortifications to faction warfare was comment 15, and he said, well, the original plan was for factions, so we got gypped, guys. We got skipped over. Too much work. He said it's too much work, bro. If they, you designed video games, how does it work? If they play out well, we can adapt it for factions. It's on the list. So what this translates to is you're not going to see this during your lifetime. It'll be 4 to 5 years, and then they might add it to the game, okay? Comment 16 says, we should be able to a faction flag up at Outpost. And Robin said, well, it could be exploitable, but we'll look into it. So I'm all about not exploiting games, let's just be real, but I'm all about griefing games. So let me tell you what would happen if this came to light. And I'm okay with it because it makes my job easier, but I like to get a PvP set and set right outside of Limhurst. So I go to U-Wood and I just beat everybody up, and eventually I will misplay or I will get zerged down and I will get beaten up. And when I do, because I'm so deep into Limhurst, it unflags me, which then forces me to travel back home, all the way back to Bridgewatch, and then I have to ride all the way back out again if I want to keep doing this. Most of the time, the 15 to 20 minute drive to get to U-Wood here is not worth the entertainment value of camping newbies in this zone. It's just not. But if it were the case that I could flag up at an outpost, well, then I can just go 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 zones away, reflag up, and then, run back out here again. Also, another thing, too, is that sometimes when I'm faction flagged, I like to jump into an epic mist or a legendary mist. But then I have to go all the way back to town to reflag. Another thing, too, is, let's say that I'm not flagged, and I'm out traveling around the yellow zone doing my usual thing, and I see a juicy transport who's not using the correct bear mount, which if I see a transport not using a bear mount, that's free loot. That's 250,000 silver that I can yoink up from that player. So all I have to do is run ahead of them, hit an outpost, flag up, and then gank them and take their faction hearts. So that's the exploits that I can think of. They're not really exploits, but whatever. Comment 17 said that there should be more motivation to be first place in Bandit event, and Robin said he likes games where you have to commit to a faction for life. For the Horde, anybody? Now, he also says if they did this, then everyone would just play the winning faction, which, if you look at World of Warcraft, especially Classic and all the other iterations and private servers, that is absolutely the case. Every time one side starts to win over the other, the losing side bails, and they switch servers. Or they literally just re-roll onto the winning faction. And that's why I've been telling everyone for the past 2 years that they should be playing Bridgewatch, but Bridgewatch is no longer holding its own. So it's kind of interesting not to be on the winning side. I'm going to say that, but at the same time, it kind of sucks because you're not getting as much, you're not getting as many faction points per week anymore. So yeah, I don't know, man. I agree with the whole, everyone will just switch to the winning side if that's the case. Comment 18 says that we should be able to use the battle mounts, I put war mounts up though, in faction warfare. And Robin said it's overpowering for beginners to the point where they can't participate. And those people that remember back in the day, I used to grief the hell out of faction warfare with battle mounts. I used to run around in a behemoth and just shut people down. It was fun times, but if you're a new player and you're going up against a battle mount, you can't do anything to it. You literally can't do nothing to it. And so, yeah, it's unfair for new players. Comment 19, more skills for weapons. It's not fair that spears have 8 skills and, crossbows have 3. And then Robin says, we're working on it, and that they add skills when weapons start losing viability. Alright, so comment 20 was pretty funny here. Someone said, add a luck parameter to avoid attacks. And so Robin visibly cringes really hard, and he says it's a terrible idea. The game needs as little luck as possible. So go to 2033 in the video to see it. Someone has to make a meme out of this. Someone make one of those meme compilations, and I don't know. We got a new meme, guys. Come on. All right, so if there's ever an Albion con, someone has to go up on the panel and be like, hey, Robin, when are you going to add dodge mechanics? Random number generated crits. And just watch them, just cringe. Comment 21, we have royal armor and boots and stuff, but why not capes and weapons? And Robin says, they're coming. Comment 22 is the necromancer weapon line, and he basically says what we already know. Large-scale battle performance would suffer if 300 people have to receive packets about your summons. Well, then that would just be multiplicative, and they would have to reduce how many players can be in a zone to fight, and they don't want to do that. Comment 23, IP caps for Miss. He says that more people ask for a higher end cap and not a lower end cap because this guy in the comments wanted the rats gone. He says restricting gear would take away the open world feeling. The Mists aren't open world. They're randomly generated little instances. What the hell? Why are rats happening? Player density? Is there too many players in a Mist? From my understanding, Mists have up to 13 players. I could be wrong on this, but when the Mist first came out, that's what the data showed. Why are rats happening? And rewards would be tuned down. That's fine. Spread some of that back to solo dungeons. Working on lowering ratting. They're working on it. Well, you know what I think we should do? We need to work on increasing it, guys. As a community, we need to be ratting the Mists more and more and more and make these players suffer. Comment 24, balances. Some weapons aren't playable. And he said, well, that's our goal. He also complained and whinged saying it's really hard. Comment 25 is, a grace period should be added when joining randoms so they don't leave the party and kill you immediately. Robin says he's looking into it, he agrees, and he wants to learn how to get people to transition into the Black Zone better, and he wants more collaboration in the Black Zone to be more feasible. Here's my take on it, because I existed back in the day when there were IP caps in the yellow zones that forced you to go to the black zones. I joined this game to be a lumberjack and a tank. That's what I wanted to do. And every single time, and this is before I made YouTube videos for the game, every single time I would form a random group of people to go into a red or black zone to do group dungeons, people would leave party and attack, or they would have friends in a Discord call, Ventrilo call, whatever the heck, and their friends would invade the dungeon, and then they, the spy, would leave the group and assist their friends in killing us. And this was 100% of my interactions with people doing group dungeons. Every single person, every single party, every single dungeon run ended badly. And so, it just made me not want to do group content ever again with randoms. There's just no doing it, right? And even as a streamer, as a successful YouTuber now, even when I try to set up random stuff, in black zones with people that I barely know, well, they have a group of friends that they know very well, and those group of friends just turn the tides, and it just sucks. It's so dumb. It's like, if you don't have friends, the game doesn't have systems to help you make friends. Other games back in the day had systems to help you make friends. Random Dungeon Finder was one of them in, World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, for instance. A lot of other games just had, incentives and reasons to party up with people and not kill them and take their stuff. Whereas games like RuneScape didn't really have that, and this game doesn't either. Comment 26, better group dungeon experience. And he says they will add more enemies and dungeon content. The challenge is it's a lot of work. Again, he keeps saying it's a lot of work. Bro, it's a Unity game. Just hire more people. Small impact for large effort. They'd rather work on weapon lines. Not enough people are playing for the work to be, reasonable. And most people are doing mists anyway, so they're not really focused on dungeons. Comment 27, corrupted dungeon maps? Robin says it's on the list. Comment 28, moving stuff in chests. He'll talk to the UI team about it. Comment 29, add more advanced pings like League of Legends, like defend here pings, retreat here pings. Robin says, yeah, we're not League of Legends in terms of player count. It's hard to send the info to hundreds of people at a time, and it's on the list. Comment 30 was, the chat box is hard to read. Can you make it, all black? And Robin says, you can? And yeah, it's literally right here. It's literally right there. Comment 31, which they censored, the ability to see your stashed items like in EVE Online. they made the EVE part blank. Yeah, it's on the list. It's a big feature, and your inventory apparently lives on different servers. So, who knew? Comment 32 says, let pings be viewable in-game. So if you ping the map by, clicking, as you can see here, you should be able to see it actually in the game itself, and then it would make communication easier. Robin said, that's a cool idea, dude. It's forwarded. And basically, in ZVZs, in guild versus guild crap, it would make it easier to see where the leader is, so we can just ping the ground in front of them. And yeah, maybe we'll see it one day. Comment 33, hide players in city functionality for PC. He said it's on the list. I forgot what comment I'm on, but someone said more cursor colors, and he says, which color do you want? Comment 35 is that more functionality should be added to items like the assassin jacket to show the max range before you can do certain actions. One of them was like one of the Mistwalker boots that would, let you slingshot backwards. And Robin said, good suggestion, might be technically hard though. Comment 36, custom button placement for mobile. It's in the works. Spectate when dead? Staring at a blank screen for 15 seconds in arena sucks. And then Robin says, I'll ask the programmers. PC field of vision higher than mobile? Robin says, wider. It shouldn't be. Pinch and zoom out. Comment 39, add graphic presets for people that do multiple content. He said, good idea, add it to the list. So comment 40 I've had forever now, and it's just, when you inspect a player, it should display their IP and not your own. This would be so a massive life game changer to PvP, it's insane. If you inspect someone and they have 200 more IP than you, you should probably just run away unless you really have the counter to their build. So he says that the problem is the UI is generic and always shows yours, and that he will forward it. So basically, they're never going to fix it. Let's just be real. They're never going to fix this. It's kind of an acquired skill to be able to determine your opponent's item power when inspecting them by looking at their weapon specialization, the skills they have equipped, and all that stuff. It would be nice if this was the case, but I don't expect them ever to do it. Comment 41 is allowing symbols on name tags. This makes it easier to follow the healers or shot callers in ZVZ. And this guy had a bunch of other suggestions, but Robin ignored them. Anyway, so his response was, it's on the to-do list, and it would be coming not on the next update, but the one after that. So after fortifications, which, hell, might not be till November, knowing this company. But here's my thing. As a solo player, I hate that because I'm not in a party, I can't mark targets. I should be able to click on a player and add a symbol above their head, regardless if I'm in a party or not. I think it's so dumb that I have to be partied with someone. I go to the point where I will just invite randoms in chat until I have a party so that I can mark a player that I need to stalk and follow into, a full loot zone. Whenever, they dive into a crowd of people in town, I can lose them. It's really hard to stream snipe and torment players if I can't mark them, so you should add that functionality. Comment 42 is about naval and boat stuff, like sea monsters, sea fights, boats. He says that there's a whole concept for it, but they don't want to pull the trigger on it until the main game is better. Comment 43 is 3v3 content, and Robin says PvP. He says that the game has a lot of content, and they want to observe the population size. He also says that it would add more division to the current content, which diminishes the pool of people that play that content. And he says it might be viable for Mists, but not viable for Hellgate. So here's my thing. Here's my take. By adding a 3v3 game mode, you don't hurt anybody. You're not dividing the player base. If anything, you would be adding to the player base because someone might look at your game and be like, oh, well, I have 2 friends, and my 2 friends want something to play that's 3v3. Well, Albion Online is not something we can play because we can only do 2v2 or 5v5 or whatever the fuck. And so, by not having this content already in your game or available in the game, you're just, preventing new players from joining, essentially. Comment 44 is more dev talks, please, and Robin says he only does them if he has something meaningful to say. He also says, I don't want you to listen to me ramble like you're doing right now. So we can tell that Robin doesn't like these answering or responding to questions. And I gotta tell you, as the king rambler of Albion Online, I am the rambler king of this game. I can ramble for hours. Have you seen one of my live streams? Probably not. I don't think Robin cares. But I can go on 8 to 12 hours of non-stop rambling, bro. People love it. People love it. You're the CEO of the damn game company. You should learn to like rambling. Comment 45, earnable cosmetics like pets for doing corrupt dungeons. And he says, well, Crystal Arena has them, and there are plans to expand on this, and that there will be a talk coming soon about this. So someone said a performance update so that lower-end machines can run the game, bro. I had a computer from 2010 that can run this game. But anyway, he says they're constantly working on it, but he really stresses that if there's something specifically that is making the game lag or underperform, to let them know. And I'll just tell you right now, you want to know, I have a supercomputer. I have a 3080 and 64 gigs RAM and a 10850K processor. And even I freeze in big fights. And here's what freezes me. You take a longbow and you cast the E spell on a big clustered group of players in a bandit assault faction fight. This freezes my computer. I don't know why. I don't know why that freezes my computer for 1 to 2 seconds. But I am running everything at maximum possible graphics. So, again, there you go. That's my suggestion. Comment 47 wants a rework of the mounts, and Robin says that 5 to 6 categories is a large amount of mounts with 30 models and skins. He also says they want to make more base types available, give you more options, and challenge is that every mount needs a role or a reason to use it. He also says that statistically, people just use or want the fast mounts. That's all they really care about. And I'll go off the rails a bit here and say, that's just what the ZVZers want. That's just what the new players want. Bro, I want armored mounts. I want mounts that help me pull mobs and statics. I want mounts that let me do crazy cool stuff. Maybe jump up, like for instance, look at the, let me hide the text. I want a mount that can jump over walls. I want to be able to like jump up here. I would use that mount on all of my hundreds of islands. If I could just jump this wall, that would save me a few seconds, and I'd pay multiple millions for a mount that just lets me climb a wall or something, or lets me fly, or lets me do something. Like, let me fly an eagle over the top of this house. It's probably not mechanically viable and probably too hard to program or something. It would probably bug out and let people fly over the water. What about, a mount that lets me go into the water? Like a little dolphin or something that I could go and ride the dolphin out in the water and then fish off of it or something. How about like a mount that lets you gather while mounted, even at half speed? Do you know how many people would use that? And you can make it easily dismountable. Like a mount with only 300 HP and no armor, you can just stay mounted on while you gather, and it's even slower than normal gathering. Everyone would want that. I think that would be a cool idea. Anyway, whatever. So this question, I think Robin kind of misinterpreted, and the comment asked them about extreme weather conditions like lightning storms and snowy battlefields. And Robin took it as some sort of survival game mechanic where he said the reality is that people would just get annoyed by it by having their movement speed slowed through snow or being forced to wear, clothing to protect against the cold. And he also said that Albion isn't a survival game, but I think he misinterpreted this question. I think the question would be just adding cool weather effects. Okay, so for instance, World of Warcraft Classic or Vanilla had stormy weather, snowy weather, lightning storms, rainstorms, etc. And it really brought more immersion to the game. Like, I remember being in the jungle and ganking players, and when it's stormy and dark and spooky, it was more fun to gank in stormy, rainy weather because it was just, it was just really nice to be in the rain and kill people. It was really cool. And I think that, every time that you look at, if you look at an Albion Twitch stream wall of all the streamers streaming, all the screens look the freaking same. Everything is purple, everything is green, everything is blue or white, whatever. Well, when you look at videos of battles, of ZVZs and stuff, it's all kind of samey. It's all samey. It's always, sunny or nighttime. It's never in between. There is no rainstorms. There is no stuff going on. And you don't have to have a thunderstorm that shoots lightning and kills players or knocks them around. That would be the random number generator that he cringed about earlier. But I think having a big ZVZ fight in really stormy, rainy, lightning, weather, that slightly brightens the screen every once in a while with some thunder cracks in the background would be freaking cool as hell, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Comment 49 was about questing, and everyone wants questing in the game, but Robin just doesn't. Bro, he's the CEO. He's not going to add quests. He doesn't like quests. He says that people don't do quests without rewards, and he says, well, we can't reward you with gear because the gear is player crafted in the game. And there's so many rewards you could totally freaking do for people. For instance, these little community tokens, you get enough of those, you can go buy a skin. You can do crappier skins. Maybe some sort of massive quest reward for focus potions. Bro, I'll tell you right now, if I had to do hours of I would gladly spend 4 to 5 hours doing very difficult quests to get these focus potions. I would, every crafter in the game would go out into the open world as you want and quest their ass off and do dailies and weeklies and monthlies or whatever to get this damn reward. Every single crafter would do it because that would let them craft more stuff. You could do food rewards. I know this is player crafted, but maybe some crappier food. What about tomes? Non-tradable tomes. I would do quests all day to get these. That's basically what faction warfare is to me. I go do faction warfare. I get the points. I turn them into the chest. I get the tome, and that's what keeps me going. That is literally what keeps me going. Okay, there's so many things that you can reward for questing. What about a crappy little treasure chest that holds a few items or a decoration? You know, like, looking at my decorations, I have these fireworks on the ground. I have, like, a cage here. You know, just some stupid little decoration you could put on your island for a quest reward. People would do them. People would love to do them. People love questing. I personally hate questing in MMORPGs. I don't quest in World of Warcraft unless I have to, and I really hate, you know, doing quests. But people in general love them, and you could just be creative with the rewards. It could just be, you could reward them with fame or small amounts of silver. Maybe, you know, you might have a problem with bots doing the quest then, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Comment number 50, specking gathering is hard. Well, Robin says it's debatable. It's easier if it's easier to level, resources will be more scarce because more people could gather them. And it could collapse the economy. He also said we won't change it too much. Now, he also said, what are your thoughts? Here's my freaking thoughts, okay? As a neat lifer with no job, I was able to max out all the gathering, well, not max it out, but at least get them all to tier 8. And that keeps me happy, because I just gather in the blue and the yellow zones. And yeah, so I'm content with the fact that I can do it. But if I had real-life obligations, if I had a real-life job, if I had to go to work, if I had family, if I had a life worth living outside of the video game, I wouldn't play this game at all. It's way too much of a grind to level up, and everyone will agree with me on this, that even like without learning points, okay? Without learning points, gathering is the hardest thing to level up in the entire game. You know, crafting could be kind of hard depending on what you're crafting, especially some Avalonian and artifact items, but essentially, leveling your gathering up is the most tedious grind. There is no one, I don't think there's anyone in the game that exists that has level 100 in all gathering, okay? And with the game being out, what, 7 years now or something, you would think someone would have reached that point by now. And even the freaking game master that cheated, you know, who was the #1 gatherer in the world, even he wasn't 100 in everything. I'm pretty sure he wasn't. But, like, the grind is ridiculously high. Like, I could grind out level 99 in old school RuneScape, you know, much sooner than I could in this freaking game. Comment 51 is, city plots are impossible to get due to the cartel sweatlords. And Robin's like, well, we're looking into it. The goal is to make it harder to monopolize the plots, and he can't give any more details at the moment because, well, if he did, then the cartels would have a plan of action. And then Robin goes to apologize for the length of the video. Bro, like, people love long videos. More of my audience loves longer videos than the damn short ones, and I'm not, well, no, I'm not going to give away some YouTube secrets. I know Robin isn't a YouTuber. He's a freaking millionaire CEO. But I know my haters watch this, and I don't want to give them the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, because I'm not done with this game yet. And they don't want to be my friend. I have to be their villain, their arch nemesis, so I'm not allowed to help them with their YouTube journeys at all. Sorry, Mogdun. Not until you detach from the group. Also, people really hate your ventriloquism on the hat thing. I don't really care about it, but people are bitching at me about it. I'm like, I don't fucking know him. Like, I don't know him, dude. Tell him yourself. Tell the hat. Anyway. Yes, you should do more reacts, Robin, and you should react to your top YouTubers as well, including me, okay? It's your freaking game, you could use my footage, and you can be like, well, Swole Benji's actually wrong about fame per hour, blah, 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 blah. Dude, the community would flip, they would do backflips if you were to, like, prove my videos wrong, but, you know, I would love for people to prove my videos wrong. Everyone's like, oh, Swole Benji misinformative, Swole Benji's wrong about this. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am literally not wrong. I've run hundreds of tests, I've run the numbers. How am I wrong? Please prove me wrong. Please show me. Show me. And that's the freaking video, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know whatever you want. Like, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? Finally, hit the like button. Hit it really, really hard. So hard that you crush bunnies with your fists like I just did. And finally, if you don't click the video on the right side of your screen, then you're going to get into a car accident. And I'm not even joking. It will happen to you if you don't click it. So click it right now to save your life.